So this is actually probably my favorite spot in all of Claiborne. This is my little book nook, if you will. This is where I come to sit and relax and read and enjoy a beverage. This is actually in Pepe's Memorial Park. So when I first moved here, one of the first things that I had to go through and had to endure on my own was the death of a pet. And it was very, very tragic. I happened to be by myself that weekend. It was absolutely horrific. I had to have my little dog, my little companion animal of almost 15 years, put to sleep. It was on a Sunday. The vet happened to be in the office. I had to dig the grave. I had to do everything. And it was just absolutely devastating. And I thought, oh, what am I, cursed? You know, I don't think I can get through this. And the one thing that did help me get through this and has helped me through every tragic moment in my life is an outlet of creativity. And so this park was developed not because I wanted to, but it was developed out of necessity to help me get over grief. Now, we all grieve in different ways, or so they say. I really think that in all the research that I've done, the grief process actually shuts down those parts of your brain that delivers things like oxytocin, the pleasure center of your brain, and you absolutely feel like you just can't get that back. And for many, many reasons, and I'll link some good research links to this video, creativity helps you to re-stimulate that part of your brain and to start feeling like you're back in control again. It is an excellent, excellent source of healing and feeling like you're back in control. It is a great, great outlet. Also, anytime you deal with miniatures, my personal preference is fairies, but there are many kinds of miniatures. There's miniature houses and miniature cars and miniature train sets, and there's dolls, and there's all kinds of miniatures. Miniatures do many things. They're not ordinary. They're not something that you see every day. And so they stop and make you think and make you look. They bring you back to your childhood. They absolutely make you feel like you are in control again. And they give you a great sense of nurturing. Even things like puppies and kittens and things like that gives you a great sense of nurturing and caring and feeling like you're back in control. So let me introduce you to Pepe's Memorial Park and some of the little miniature fairies that live here. Just below the sign that welcomes you to Pepe's Memorial Park is the first stop of fairies, and I'll introduce you to them quickly. So this is basically where my fairy, who I consider the guardian of the mammals, lives. So as you can see, she's holding a rabbit. She's got a little rabbit here, and there are other rabbits around her. She has a little squirrel right here. And her kitty cat back here is sleeping with his golden thread. She has her own house. And then she shares space with the three sisters that represent the three stages of life. So we have morning, noon, and night. And these are their houses. So any fairies that I get that have anything to do with mammals will eventually go around the base of this tree. Now, I do pick my fairies up in the wintertime and put them away. Bring them back out first thing in the spring. So this is the first stop of fairies. On our second stop, around the base of a second tree, are my fairy of aquatics. This is where she lives, and she's the fairy who watches over the pond, the creeks, the waterways, the tea, and all of the amphibious mammals all of the amphibious critters that live here at Claiborne. And my daughter did that beautiful frog for me. Isn't she cute? So any fairies having to do anything with water or any type of amphibians end up around the base of this tree. This fairy spot is actually a little bit different, and I really wasn't going to show my pet's graves close up, but I'm going to share this with y'all. So this is where my pet bird is buried. Her name was Cleopatra. And so the fairy that lives here at Cleo's gravesite is the little fairy that watches over the birds. And so she lives in a tree house naturally. She has a little bird house. She's got some owls and some hummingbirds. She's got lots of cardinals. She's got a pretty little songbird back here on her fairy crossing bench. And anytime I find feathers, offerings of feathers, they usually, if I'm not going to use the feathers for anything, sometimes I just bring them over here and place them under this little fairy's care. Isn't she cute? So the fourth and final fairy stop in the park is the fairy who watches over the gardens and the land and all of the insects. And so she resides right here. She lives in a bouquet house. I think that house is so cute. In her pretty little purple dress, she's got some little blooming cacti over here. She's got little snails that help her in her gardening. She's got a welcome sign that's actually a leaf. She's got a little sign over here. It's got flowers on it. She's got a welcome to my garden sign here. Welcome to the garden, plant, grow, bloom. Little sign back here. She's such a cute little fairy. And she's surrounded by strawberry plants. One of my most favorite elements of the Memorial Park is actually this beautiful wrought iron bench. This was purchased, I believe, off the side of the road sale for about 20 bucks. It was a total mess. We took it all apart, bought new wood for it, bought all new hardware. My husband painstakingly painted it for me. We just decided to do it in primary colors, and then he put it back together, and I absolutely love this bench. At some point, I do want to write in loving memory along the back of that. We just got this bench back together the other day. Another pretty element is our spot for kitty cats. So anytime anybody gives me some sort of a cat, or I find a cat that's irresistible, that kitty cat ends up here in the park. And then another of my favorite spots is Pepe's Rainbow Shelter. So Pepe never got a rainbow bridge in his park, but he did get a beautiful memorial bench. He's surrounded by all the fairies and all the little critters statues that live here, and he has this beautiful rainbow shelter. I picked up the little chipmunk for $5 at an antique mall. He was unpainted, looked kind of lonely and sad. Brought him home, gave him a fresh coat of paint, made him look a little more chipper. And that's actually a working shelter for chipmunks. So when we feed our birds here, and this is a massively busy bird feeding station, the seeds that fall to the ground actually are a enticement for chipmunks to come out of the woods. And me having real life hunting cats, the chipmunks have to have a way to get away from the cats. And so a couple of years ago, I think I showed when I made this little shelter, and I actually show a chipmunk in that other video. I'll try to find a link to that old video where a chipmunk actually darts underneath this thing. Well, I don't think he darts, he just goes underneath it. So yeah, so we feed lots and lots of birds here. We get lots of chipmunks, and we love this little rainbow shelter. And this year it's covered with animal stickers. Every year I kind of sand it down and re-up it, and this year it has stickers on it. I just love that little chipmunk, isn't he cute? So in addition to all the bird feeders that are here in the Memorial Park, you're gonna find really quirky things like stuff like this. This is just put together from broken bits and pieces of all kinds of wind chimes. And the whole thing came together and made one wind chime. And even a broken dragonfly wind chime needs love. Some of my birds' favorite toys, another bird, another wind chime, and you'll always find lots of wind chimes here. One of the advice from a hummingbird sign, these things are made of like some kind of cork board, but I find that if you paint them and you give them a clear coat and you spruce them up once a year, you can leave them out all summer and then put them up and then re-up them and put them back out in the following spring. And oh, I can't forget Peony the pig. Bought her at a local antique mall. She was just a little cement pig. She didn't have any paint on her, and I decided to make her happy wallowing in a little mud pit. And my favorite thing about Peony Pig is her little gold eyes, and they actually look like they're looking at you when you first walk into the park. I love Peony. She's so cute. Well, thank you for taking this tour with me of Pepe's Memorial Park. I hope that this video finds you all doing very, very well and enjoying your summer. I'm sending you much love and light. Blessed be.